Hello and welcome to Steven Universe. This week we watched Love Letters, an episode that can I predict your initial complaint straight away, Chris?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what you thought of the episode. Make it clear to the listeners, we've literally not said a word about this episode. We have just gone, let's record, and off we go, right? But I'm predicting that you're going to say this. We still haven't had an episode about sour cream, or Jenny the pizza girl. They brought back Jamie the postman from the cheeseburger backpack? Yeah, because I was really eager for an episode about that guy. Am I on the right?
You've ruined it. So my summary of the episode is going to be this. So Stephen and Connie are taking photographs, and suddenly Jamie appears, and you're like, who's this chump? Like, when we've got a whole town of people we've not explored, why are we exploring him? I then got even more worried, though, because, I'll explain first. So he comes, he falls in love with Garnet, he writes a letter to her, she writes back a very comical response of just no, and then like, forever, ever, ever. So Stephen and Connie write a more polite version. He takes it as a sign of love. She rejects him. He gets all upset. She tells him he's a good actor, and away we go. My worry, though, so first of all, yes, that was my complaint, and I'm thinking maybe it was yours too, and we can't be alone in that. But then, like, they had, at first, like, Stephen and Connie were both, like, impressed with him, and it was just the way that he appeared after a tender moment between those two, and I was like, oh god, is he going to be like some sort of rival for Connie's affection? Like, and then when he fell for Garnet, I was like, oh thank god, at least they're not doing that. So it was fine. It's just, we were just talking about this before we started recording. It comes off the back of a lot of strong episodes. It's obviously, less said about last week's Say Uncle the Better last time, Say Uncle the Better. It's obviously better than that. But it's not. It's the least strong episode in a while. Which is, an episode is eventually not going to deal with the fallout of the crash and stuff like that. So that's fine.
The return and jailbreak. Yeah.
Yeah. It just happens to be this episode that falls on. That's not the episode's fault. But it is just like, yeah, that was fine. There's not much to say or analyse on it. It was quite entertaining. There were some funny bits. There is definitely an element of why are we... Because I'd forgotten that we even met him at first. That's my view.
Yeah, because you're right. Because, the run has been basically the return, jailbreak, which were both incredible. I think we'll all agree. Then Joyride, which was really good. And full disclosure, obviously, was directly after Jailbreak, which is the episode where Stephen has to confront his fear of telling...
Well, even think before that, political power, story for Stephen,
absolutely.
The message.
Yeah. Is it just called... No, sorry, there's another episode later on called Message Received. That one was just called The Message, sorry, yeah. So, so it's been a really strong run of episodes, but ultimately... I think we both knew at a certain point we were going to have to go a little bit back to...
It's not the episode's fault. Like, it really isn't. And it's unfair to judge it on its placing. But it does put you in this point of view of, yeah, it was fine.
Do you think you'd have been more angry with it if you hadn't, spent the last episode riling? Do you think if let's say Uncle Grandpa was not a thing, maybe it didn't happen in the end, for whatever reason, that they couldn't make the crossover work, so it got cancelled, didn't happen. So we go straight from, or I just chose to skip it because it's non-canonical. So we go from, what was the episode? It was, where was I? So we go from Joyride.
Joyride.
That's the one. I had a bit of a brain fart then. So I literally made a fart noise. Don't know why I did that. Joyride to this one. Do you think you'd be more angry at this episode, or do you think the palate cleanser that is just the weirdness of Uncle Grandpa showing up in Steven Universe, do you think that made you feel more fond about this episode, or do you think you'd have been angrier if this had just come straight after Joyride, or not bothered?
I'd have maybe ranted more about who's Jamie and why are we dealing with him, maybe. But it's not a bad episode. It's a good episode. Like, it's a fine episode of the show, and I always like the ones that are slightly left field of typical Gem-esque storylines. We got some Stephen and Connie. Garnet had a sweet moment at the end. We got a bit of confirmation about Ruby and Sapphire's relationship. I love that joke of start with amateur theatre and then hitting him on the back. It's by no means a bad episode. There's just not that much to say on it. Is that not? What's your view?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair because you're right. There's a couple of really noteworthy things, but they're reaffirming things we already knew. No new information in this episode. Stephen and Connie still have a really interesting but sweet relationship. We get a tiny bit more clarification on Garnet's one, but you're right. It's kind of what we already figured. I did love though. It must be said, I really like three's a crowd. Like I love that line so much, and I loved when she was writing her letter. I just really enjoyed. So start with the letter N, then the letter O. Garnet, you can just say the whole word. Okay.
You can see totally where it's going, and Connie just can't. And for someone, there's a bit of joy in seeing it before Connie, a smart character, sees it.
Yeah. There's definitely something good about that. I think you're right, though. I think that other than that, a few things that were already sort of established. I suppose it's interesting to note that Garnet has been spending her time looking for malachite in the ocean.
Well, she doesn't ever say that's what she's doing, does she?
Yeah.
Or did I miss that?
Yeah, she comes back out the water and goes, I was looking to see if I was seeing any signs of lapis and jasper. And he's like, did you find anything? She's like, nope. And then later on, she comes back out of the ocean again, wrestling with a weird little gem monster thing that she obviously found in her attempt to search for. So she's obviously been spending her time doing that. So I suppose that's kind of interesting. But again, nothing that we couldn't have guessed was going on. So I think this episode suffers for just not having much to do with the overall plot.
What's your view on them bringing back Jamie and looking at him?
I think that I'm okay with the show bringing back a character that we only got a glimpse of previously and saying, look, he's still out there. These people don't go away. They're not one episode necessarily characters and that's it. We've built a universe here and we'll do that. But I just feel like there are characters more worthy of exploration than Jamie.
I think it would have been funny if they'd have had him leave saying he was going to be a movie star and then he comes back and he's not, or then you kind of... he ends this episode with a speech of, no, I'm going to go for my dreams, and he just never returns. And then maybe one day you see him on the background on the TV or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be up for that.
One thing though, the post woman that replaces him, that's got to be Sadie's mum, right?
I will say that the similarity in appearance was not unnoticed when this episode originally aired.
It just sounded like her as well, and spoke with similar mannerisms. I was like, well, that's got to be Sadie's mum, surely.
Yeah, I'm glad you spotted that. I'm not saying for sure yes or no that is a thing, but I can tell you now that you are not alone to have noticed that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to confirm or deny. But I mean, you can make a reasonable guess.
Because they even had that weird expositional dialogue where it's like, I didn't think you did live up here. Like that's kind of setting up that she knows who Stephen is.
Well, she says you're Greg's kid, so whoever that post lady is, she knows Greg.
Yeah, it's so meaning that she's part of the town. She's Sadie's mum, surely. Yeah.
I mean, you can make that assumption, and it would also, if that were true, it would also give you a bit more context for Stephen and Sadie, because if she knows Greg and that is Sadie's mum, you might argue that Stephen and Sadie knew each other since they were growing up. They might have grown up alongside each other, sort of.
That's good.
Potentially.
Explaining why they have a close enough friendship for them to be in the room together watching the video.
Yeah, more so than donut purchaser and donut seller relationship, which is...
Yeah, because it did... I think I remember saying at the time that was a bit out of left field that they were doing this quite intimate thing together.
Mm-hmm. So you could argue that would give that a bit more context. But again, the show hasn't 100% confirmed who she is, but I can say that that is not unobserved. Like,
right, that's why because I was like, is it connected to... I wondered why you were being vague about it. So you're being vague because the show's not confirmed that.
Yes.
Right.
The show has not confirmed if those two are related, so I'm going to... and for those of you bleating, but you said that you confirmed the sour cream and onion thing. come on. He made the wah 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 noises that his dad does. Said he was a sailor. Come on, that was a lot. That was very explicit. So me not saying what's going on here or not is, I think, a little bit fairer because the show didn't really clarify. Didn't give her name. She does resemble Sadie, and if she was Sadie's mum, it would certainly maybe explain some of their closeness. But the show has not confirmed that. So.
Well, and her voice and mannerisms, I honestly thought were similar as well.
That is also true. What did you think about Jamie being the worst postman in the history of the world? Just throwing all the letters in the sea.
I thought that was funny.
For drama.
Yeah,
Especially at the end when they were just like, do you want us to help you get those? He's like, yeah.
I thought that was amusing.
Good. What was the other thing? There was something else. There was another thing. Yeah, I can't remember now. There was something.
Did you like this, the Stephen and Connie stuff, them bonding and stuff? Sweet, them taking selfies together.
Yeah, I liked that, and I really liked this idea as well that Stephen ordered some sort of in-universe equivalent to sea monkeys, and because that's a brand, he couldn't say sea monkeys, so they called them something else. And then because they didn't arrive, because Jamie wasn't doing his post stuff, because no one else knows where he lives, he just kept ordering them. So then they all showed up at once. And his plan for them, they were called Sea Pals. His plan was to just, put them in the water in the sea and let them live. Like he was rescuing them from by buying them. That was amusing to me.
There's an element though of where's Stephen getting his money from?
That is a good question.
Hmm?
That is a very good question. I don't know.
Because Greg ain't funding that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know what any of these guys.
Well, the gems presumably don't need money, but where's the Stephen dollar coming from?
Yeah, I don't understand. No, you're right. Don't know. Maybe they sell some of the weird gem artifacts.
Don't know. Maybe no, I wouldn't do that. Maybe because they've been around so long, they've collected money
or collected enough sort of objects that are worth more now.
Maybe.
And they just sell them to fund Stephen. I honestly don't know. It never occurred to me. Maybe it should have.
Okay. Asking the big questions.
Asking the big questions. Yeah, I genuinely don't have the answer. That's really bothered me now.
Why?
Because I don't know.
Well, maybe that's a mystery the show will explain.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, you've broke my brain. Where do they get their money, Chris?
I don't know, man. That's why I asked. Would you have accepted an ending where, because it does raise a question. Do you, and I think we've discussed it before, but there's not much to say about this episode, so if we have, I apologise. I like it whenever they tease humans falling in love with gems again, because it's like, will we ever see that again? Well, I don't see how we would, because Garnet is Ruby and Sapphire in love. Mm-hmm. Pearl's in love with Rose, and it doesn't strike me that we'll see Amethyst fall in love. So,
yeah, that is reasonable. Yeah, I mean, it's something I can't specifically talk too much about without sort of giving away whether they do anything with it. But I can see why at this point you'd be sort of going that rules a lot of things out. Unless I suppose I mean, do you not think at a certain point Pearl might have to get over the Rose situation?
Yeah. Or fall for Stephen when he gets older. That'd be weird.
Would be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
She's been a motherly figure, so I find that a bit icky, personally.
Yeah. That'd be like a teenager auditioning for a reality TV show competition and then 10 years later dating and having a child with one of the judges. That's a very mean Cheryl and Liam joke. They brought life into the world. I shouldn't make that joke. I apologise, Cheryl and Liam fans. That was harsh of me. I take that back.
Yeah, especially because I've seen the damage that One Direction fans can do.
I definitely take that back. It's not weird at all. It's not. No, to be fair, I mean they weren't in love then, so it's not that weird. It's
a little bit weird when you watch the original video though, and she's like, "Oh, you're all so cute," and I'm like, "Oh, You're literally like, yeah, that's icky. It's a bit icky. If you watch that original clip now, it's icky. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, One Direction started on our version of American Idol, I guess, called X Factor, and Cheryl was a judge, and when the One Direction guys came on it, they were basically children, and it's just all a bit weird because now one of the guys from One Direction has a kid with Cheryl. So it's all a bit weird.
Do you think... I'm trying to think of any Steven Universe question from this hole that I admit I dug us into. It's got to be Sadie's mum, man. Anyway,
you know what though? I'm really pleased you're thinking about that sort of stuff now, because again, the depth of the show. It's like I think any point earlier in the show, you would not have.
No, I think that's fair.
You wouldn't have. You would have even tried to assume about her. Whereas now, like that's a thing you think about, and also as well, like I think that the onion thing, the onion and sour cream being related thing, has probably made you a bit more wary of like thinking about the town and their relationships to each other.
Yeah, possibly. I'm glad though, because at first I kind of vaguely then I went, oh no, I think we have seen him, and obviously when you said that we hadn't seen him in ages, I was like, okay, we definitely have met Jamie before. The idea of a new character coming in would be weird, I think. Like a completely new character.
Well, but arguably, if you're right and that is Sadie's mother, then that's a completely new character, is it not?
She's connected though. If
Right.
someone new moved to the town, I'd be like, huh?
I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense. I think with Jamie, it's interesting because you kind of complained about his scene in the episode he was in earlier. Because he was in Cheeseburger Backpack. He's the postman at the beginning that delivers Steven his cheeseburger backpack. And your complaint about that episode was, that once that gets going, it's good, but why is there a 3-minute scene at the front where he talks to the postman?
I'm not taking that back now we've met the postman.
No, I'm not suggesting you would, but my point is, and what I think is interesting about that, is that, like it's interesting that you managed to forget him because he's someone you sort of made a point about. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't just like a passive, like, there he was and there he goes. Like,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, my only argument to that would be 50 episodes ago. But, so it's, it's hard to remember. Because that's over 1,000 minutes ago, Dan.
It's a long time ago. And also for us, it's even longer because we recorded that. We would have recorded that in January? Maybe February? So it's, nearly 9 months ago for us.
Yeah, because I moved into this, if not longer, because I moved into where I live now in January, and we definitely started recording this when I was still living somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I love the way you phrased that.
But somewhere else instead of being like my parents' house.
Yeah, Chris lived at his parents until that. I wasn't going to necessarily say it. I was going to give you the opening to either say or not say that. But
hey,
yeah.
I've moved out and moved back in again. I've not been there the whole time, but
yeah, he moved out of his parents' house and then had to move back in. Oh, life's weird. Can I tell you something about unrelated to the episode that's amused me?
Mm-hmm.
So this week, CNN. On their official Twitter page, CNN Europe, accidentally did breaking and then did put the word we. Now, the assumption is it was a typo and they didn't finish the tweet, like, properly. They were supposed to be, more to the words. But somebody put under it, so it's we, and then somebody puts, are the crystal gems. Someone else puts, we'll always save the day. Someone else puts, and if you think we can't, we'll always find a way. Then someone else puts, that's why the people of this world believe in. And someone puts garnet, someone else puts amethyst, someone else puts pearl. And then Zach Callison, who voices Steven, puts, I'm Steven.
Really?
Yes.
He must have been watching that like a hawk to make sure he was the one that put it.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, or if there's some cheating going on.
And this is all completely uninterrupted. This isn't like
there's a bit of a gap. There's a bit of a gap between and Pearl and Steven of it looks like an hour. So I don't know if.
But no one put anything in between them.
It doesn't look that way. According to the picture I've got, there's no comment in between. But that might be that people were deleting them, like in order to make sure that it was just him. But it still worked out really well, and we got the screenshot of it. It's very funny.
That's awesome.
And it's weird to think that, like Steven Universe to me, I'm so isolated from Steven Universe as a fandom. Like sometimes, like I don't meet many people in real life that watch it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't come up very often. So I found the whole thing like really strange because it's like when Steven Universe seeps into like Steven Universe places, it throws me every time because I only expect to find Steven Universe stuff when I go to either YouTube where there are a bunch of recommended videos related to it because we post them, or Reddit where there's 2 subreddits I visit that deal with Steven Universe stuff. Other than that, I don't come across Steven Universe very often. So when something like that happens, I always find that really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
What are you gonna? I don't usually make you do this, but since we got, are you gonna give me a hint for next week?
A hint for next week. I'd have to look at what next week's episode was first, Chris, because we're not recording that one today, so I didn't bother looking. But I should, and therefore will. 1 second. Let me find out which one it is. Oh, okay. Oh. How do I tease this one? Oh, that's tough. We get to see some of the crying breakfast friends, or something related to that. If that helps.
Okay.
There's a teaser.
Okay. I won't make you tease because if you suddenly have to do this every week, it's going to be a nightmare, and people are going to be like, "You should have teased this. You should have teased that." So don't worry.
Yeah, this is really hard because
Just
the thing
fun
is,
suggestion.
no, it's no. On a normal
It
episode,
isn't fun.
No, on a normal episode, this would have been fine, but this particular episode's a tricky one to say without giving anything away. But I mean, okay, I'll give you this clue. I'll read you what the official released synopsis was prior to the episode actually airing.
Okay.
Stephen, Amethyst, and Garnet chase a monster that's loose in the temple. That's the vaguest. Yeah. But the episode is called Reformed. So yeah, we'll see.
Cool.
Sorry, I can't give you more. It's a shame that you did that on that episode because I think previously I might have been able to get away with doing.
Yeah,
that,
it's just we were close to 20 minutes. I thought it'd be a nice little thing, but you fucked up. So, oh well.
Yeah, I did.
No, I'm joking. Cool. There we go. Take us home, Dan.
So I'm sorry, guys. I fucked up.
That's not taking us home, is it?
No, just feeling kind of low now, Chris, because I fucked up. So, and you pointed that out, quite clearly.
Is it going to be an awkward ending instead then?
Well, I'll tell you what I can tell you. I can't tell you what I can tell you, Chris.
What?
This might make up for my lack of information. After Reformed, which is the next episode we watch, there's another bomb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the bombs are really close together at this point now. There are a bunch of them bundled towards the beginning of season 2. Just to give you any idea about how fucking weird Cartoon Network scheduling for this show is.
Is it a bomb where all the plot's interconnected?
Yes, but not as much as some later bombs.
Okay.
There's a bomb. Stephen Bomb 5 and Stephen Bomb 3 are kind of crazy.
Okay.
For how interconnected they are.
Okay, cool.
No.
Cool.
Oh, no, I tell you what, Stephen Bomb 6 is pretty interconnected too.
This is one of those things where it's just you can see what's in front of you. So to you it's interesting, but to not everyone else that can't see the list, it's just dead silence, and then you go in, oh, that's it, yeah.
Has it not occurred to you at this point that I'm doing it on purpose?
I know, but because it's awkward, but yeah.
That was my point.
Oh dear. Right. And now you're doing. I keep trying to end it, and you're just stringing it out for your own amusement.
I'm having so much fun.
I'm going to end it. Mm-hmm. I've been Chris Billingham.
You got me. You trapped me with your words. I've been Dan Doolan.
And we'll see you next week for Reform.
There you go.
Is it Reform?
Reformed.
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 Yeah.
Close enough.
Reformed.